I want to get into a little bit of the actual combat side and kind of the emotional response that you experience. And this is probably going to go way back to your Green Beret days because you were there, on deployments long before you got to the unit. The first time you got shot at, do you remember what you were thinking? Because I hear some guys, they're like, it was the best day of my life. Other guys were like, I didn't know what I was thinking. You're laughing already, so I can tell that you know exactly what you're thinking.
My first mission in SF was the best and worst thing to happen to me, and I'll tell you why. Of course, it's always easier to talk about those missions because I'll talk about those all day long. We get a call that the best way to describe it, this bad guy barbecue was happening. Daylight mission, regional level HVT, high level target. It was definitely a juicy target for SF. They brought in another ODA to come in with us. We had we always have to have Afghans with us. We brought in the minimum amount of Afghans with us for lift reasons, and you didn't get a whole lot of what felt like a unilateral daytime raid going after an HVI in Afghanistan, and that ended up being my first mission. And the Chinooks were landing on target with the ramp facing the target, and I was like 10th back, and it's just a wall of Green Berets in front of me, so it was going to take a while for me to get up there. I mean, I couldn't wait to get off this aircraft and do my job finally, right? And I'm looking out the window, the small bubble window of a 47, and I'm thinking, man, this guy's coming in fast. Man, this guy's coming in fast. But that's my first mission. Like, man, these guys come in hard and fast. And then we're really close to the ground, and I'm thinking, this guy's coming in fast. And I scream as loud as I can. I grab onto the cargo netting beside me, and I scream, hold on, which, of course, no one can hear. The blades are turning on our 47. And at that moment, the guy behind me saw me grab onto the cargo net, and he did. And when it hit really hard, everybody in front of me fell. And I literally just ran right on top of all those guys. And now it's just me and my Bravo are now at leading this target, by the time everyone gets up. And it's like a 150 meter run to this target compound. And there's already 64s, circling. And you can still remember there's like the jumping on the ground of like dirt piles jumping, and realizing later that those were rounds going everywhere. I'm telling you, it's like a scene out of a movie. One of the attack helicopters is making a run. He should have been making kind of a left or right run, but he's making a run towards us, a gun run, and he lets off some of his missiles on the side of his helicopter, and it goes over the target, and it lands in between me and my Bravo. And we jump out of the way to not get hit by this missile. And now there's dirt, everywhere. And I remember getting up and looking at him, and we're just laughing. Like, this is awesome. We finally make it to target. We killed 2 people inside the building. It was a great close quarter, combat experience for that. We end up, that whole village opened up fire on us, not just the target compound. So we were told to stay there all night, and then the AC-130s, guarded us all night, and all night long, guys were trying to, probe our. The target we took down was the building we stayed in that night, and we got into firefights, randomly, small ones, but sporadic ones all night. Continued to kill people through the night, and finally got on a helicopter the next day and left. And I remember thinking, man, I love combat. Like, that was exactly what I thought combat was, or that's what I hoped combat was. little did I know it would be a long time before I saw another mission like that dicey and with all those variables. But that was my intro to combat, and I couldn't have loved it anymore.
That's wild. Your first mission, there's missiles flying through the air, bullets
Yeah.
going everywhere, people are getting killed. That
Yeah.
that is literally, I think, the definition of baptism by fire. That is
Yeah.
about as real as it gets.
It was a good one.
So you just said that you didn't realize it'd be a while before stuff like that happened again. People have different versions. Some maybe play loose with the truth, exaggerate a little bit.
They absolutely do.
I know a guy from your old unit, and he said that he probably pulled the trigger way less than 5% of the time on any target at that level. In your experience, and he was like, that's low. Like some guys claim it was 50% of the time. He's like, no, if you're shooting at people 50% of the time, stuff has gone wrong. You're not doing things right. His words, not mine. So he said 5% is what he would put the number at. Where would you kind of put that number at? Is it Green Beret or wherever? How often are you actually having to pull the trigger on a target?
As a Green Beret, just the truth is not much. You get into a lot of firefights at distance. You call it in CAS. You don't get close and personal with the enemy like I did a lot more often at the unit. There were definitely times, that's just always it's a risky job. So it's always, it could happen at any moment, and randomly it would, but it's hard to put a percentage on it, but most missions were easy missions. Most missions, not a shot was fired at all. Not without a doubt, not everybody died on every target. And when you really talk about my SF days in Iraq, and every theater is different. The guys came to fight in Afghanistan way more than they came to fight in Iraq with the target sets that we were going after. Almost every target set in Iraq, even though we knew the intel was good, it was our intel. Like we were certain, and we had the intelligence and the dual sourced reports, not just from one guy, but from several people saying, this is a bad guy, and these are all the things he did. And we'd hit his house in the middle of the night and either pull him out of his bedroom while he's hiding, or he's still asleep by the time you get to his room. The target set for us in Iraq was a lot of people giving up. I really think they'd rather fight it out in the court system than with the Americans, knowing that they'll win and they'll get out eventually, because we went after a lot of, fancy word, but recidivists, which are prior offenders.
But in Afghanistan, they were way more willing to take shots at you coming in.
Absolutely. And now, and I'm not saying that they're willing to fight it out toe to toe with you, but they love taking pop shots at you. They love shooting at you from the mountainside and at a distance. In Afghanistan, if you stay in one place long enough, they are going to come say hi to you for sure, which, just generally speaking, what wasn't the case in Iraq.
What are your rules of engagement